So why are we here today? Have you ever asked yourself, what is good mental health? Why is mental health important? And what are some mindfulness strategies I can practice daily? Please allow me to introduce you to our esteemed speaker this afternoon. Kevin Valls is the head of clinical services and principal psychologist at Drake Workwise. Kevin is a strategic thinker and results-focused leader with experience solving complex business and clinical problems. He hopes to enhance the delivery of health and well-being services, programs, and initiatives across many settings and contexts. Kevin is a registered psychologist with clinical training, degrees in management and marketing, and over 13 years experience in the field of psychology. Kevin has a unique wealth of knowledge and experience obtained from his military career as a senior Army psychologist, professional athlete, and as a military ski and alpine survival instructor. And one fun fact about Kevin, he was a professional athlete and achieved third rank in Australian sprint kayaking. We are very lucky to have Kevin as our guest speaker tonight, so please join me in welcoming Kevin to the session.
Hi, Jane. Thank you so much for the introduction. I can't see your slides, but I can now hear the lovely music turned off. So I appreciate that being turned off so I can speak to the audience. Now I will share my screen so I can pull up my slides.
Before that, let's take a quick group photo for some keepsakes.
Sure.
So if you can, please turn on your cameras. And we'll take a quick screenshot of everyone. Okay. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat, or we have a Q&A session afterwards. I'll just pass it on to Kevin now for his presentation.
Terrific, thank you. Let's share screen. There we go. And let's start from the beginning. Terrific. Jean, can you hear me properly and you can see my slides? Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, just want to make sure. And a big shout out to all the entrepreneurs that are attending tonight. It's great to partner with the 11th space to provide such information that will hopefully help you thrive in such a difficult and turbulent time, especially with the restrictions and the long lockdown that we've had, especially in Melbourne. I know that there are a few of you down there. I'm in Sydney, and no doubt having the longest lockdown in the world has really affected a lot. And so I understand that you know, being an entrepreneur, it's very energizing to have your innovative ideas come to life. But my goodness, it really stings when all that is impacted by factors that you have no control over. And I've been part of projects that have really fell down, and you know, it's a lot more effort to give it up than it is to keep on pushing through, because giving up your dream or something you worked on for so long, especially when you've made so many sacrifices like your livelihood, finances, hobbies, other things that you have put on hold for this dream. So being an entrepreneur, it's hard work, and the pandemic has certainly not made it any easier. So my hat off to you all. And hopefully tonight you do learn something to take away to hopefully boost up your energy, to revitalize and hopefully feel more on top of your mental health and well-being, so that you can carry on your dream, whatever you have, so that you can achieve that in the short term, medium term, or long term. So I wish you all the best with that. As Jean said, I have spent the majority of my career in the Army as a senior psychologist, and I've deployed overseas 8 times. The most recent one was over the Christmas period, and that was during the pandemic, obviously. And for the majority of my 5-month deployment, it was all in lockdown. I know what lockdown feels like. I know how it feels to be restricted and also going through quarantine. And I practice what I preach. So I'll be talking about strategies this afternoon that hopefully you can apply. I know that I've applied many of these, and hopefully they work for you guys. There are additional things to your toolbox, and hopefully you have a large toolbox of strategies that you can draw from. But my role at Drake WorkWise is to oversee the clinical services and the well-being initiatives, that really does help the well-being and performance of workers in the workplace. So I take great pride and satisfaction in helping workplaces enhance their performance through the EAP services. So please reach out to us if you are interested in learning more. But throughout this presentation, I want you to reflect on 3 key points. One is to be more socially connected, to be more active, and to be more present in the moment. And so what we're going to cover are tools that you can use in your personal and work life. We're going to just give you a bit more of an understanding of how to protect and enhance your mental health and well-being across many areas of your life, not just in the workplace. And one evidence-based strategy that is growing within the literature is mindfulness. And we'll go through a technique, and we'll get to practice one too, so that you get a bit of a taste. If you haven't tried it before, today is a chance just to see if it works for you. And I must say, when I was a professional athlete, I did practice a lot of mindfulness and found it very helpful, especially with pain management, which is another area that mindfulness can be applied to. But a lot of people find that mindfulness is a really good strategy to enhance mental focus and help them with a lot of stress. And you might be able to apply that to assist in a lot of the stress that you've been going through. But Drake WorkWise, it is a service that links people into formal support resources. And for you, I wouldn't be surprised if you are stressed, you would go to your informal supports to start off with. And that could include your family and friends. And from a psychologist's point of view, that's fantastic. However, if you're finding that the informal supports and the self-help strategies are just not working that well, then formal supports through a psychologist or a mental health professional via an EAP service is one way that you can get on top of your mental health concerns if stress is really impacting on you. So consider contacting us if you feel as though it'll be worthwhile. So back on the topic of the pandemic, and my goodness, the pandemic has impacted everyone, and the effects of the lockdown that we've experienced have been wide-ranging. And you may have experienced feelings of anxiety, or maybe exhaustion just from just the chaos and the need to really be more vigilant in such an environment. There is a lot more uncertainty, which can be difficult to sit with, especially when you're so used to having a lot more freedom and control in your environment or your life. There's also a lot more decisions that we've had to make. So for instance, during the pandemic, or I suppose if you're still in an environment where it's rather restrictive, you have to be vigilant to keep that 1.5 meters away from people, wearing a mask, logging into a tracing checking system using the QR codes. There's a lot more that we've had to think about, and that really adds on to your fatigue. Our executive functioning, which is our prefrontal lobe, is where we make the decisions on a day-to-day basis. Now, if we're overloaded with lots of decisions, then like a muscle, that really tires out and it needs rest. So it's no surprise that a lot of us are feeling exhausted because we're just really tired about making so many decisions on a day-to-day basis. So I want to validate that feeling that you might be experiencing, which is fatigue. It's quite normal for a lot of us going through this. So well-being, look, it's more than just functioning well and feeling happy. It's about coping with challenges a lot better and having that reserve capacity to really surge whenever you need to overcome another obstacle. So healthy well-being helps you achieve more goals. In contrast, poor well-being can really make it challenging every day to achieve your goals. So well-being, or healthy well-being, is what we're striving for. So it's important because research has found that healthy well-being results to a general increase in life satisfaction, more engagement in social activities, and research has found that people who have healthier well-being are more environmentally wise and responsible. In the workplace, a healthier well-being has found to be related to greater satisfaction in the work, feeling that they can work more productively with others. And this is also a pertinent topic at the moment, where restrictions are easing and people are returning back into the office after so much time working from home or being isolated from others. It can be a fair adjustment getting back into the workplace, working with people face to face. So having a healthy well-being can really assist in engaging with people and adjusting to a new environment. So this is something for everyone to consider and prepare for, which is going back into the office environment, but making sure that the well-being is strong, strong enough to cope with any challenges and adjustments. So how do we improve our well-being? Well, it's not simple, and it's very individual too. So there are some general tips, and as I said at the beginning of the presentation, be connected, and connecting with others when we're designed to be social beings, and where we feel less lonely when we're part of a community. I do encourage you to really reach out, and if you haven't done already, then engage with friends and family on a more regular basis. And when you get back into the office space, try to be more social to really adjust to having more people in your life that you have to interact face to face. So be connected and try to be more social. Now, when you are social, a gratefulness activity is something that can help with more positive thoughts. So recognizing what you are grateful for, and it might be just having really nice friends or a safe environment to work in, or grateful for having a supportive family or the opportunity to be an innovative business person. So having a gratefulness list can assist, and certainly combining that with others in your environment, family, friends, work colleagues, can really enhance your well-being. Now, be active. And this means, I suppose, in trying to enhance your physical well-being too. So you've got your mental well-being, you've got your physical well-being, and they're both highly related. So if you focus on your fitness, or just being physically active, it doesn't have to be strenuous or intense exercise, but being outdoors. We're designed to be outdoors. We're designed to be in nature, and it can be really refreshing when we are outside. The mind desires that connection with nature rather than these concrete walls that we tend to live in. So be active physically. Keep learning. So we get a lot of satisfaction out of being, I suppose, when we're learning a lot more. Adult learning tends to come from through experience, and when we are learning on a regular basis, we exercise the cognitive functioning. and we end up being a lot sharper. We're able to take on more, and we just feel as though we can generally function a lot better when our mind has been exercised. And I found a few years ago when I went into a really challenging role. My goodness, it was exhausting to get my head around it, but over time I adjusted, and I felt as though my mind was really sharp as a result of stretching my mind. And it's similar to learning. If we study or if we learn something new, it can really exercise our brain so that our cognitive functioning is a lot sharper. So I encourage you not only to stay connected with others, be more social, be physically active, but also continue learning, and try to really exercise those cognitive functions. Now, then we get to more the mindfulness or being present in your life. And this topic is researched a lot in the academic literature. And being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your experiences, non-judgmentally, without negative interpretation, can really help you feel grounded. And so being aware of your experience is something extra that you can apply. And we'll go through some mindfulness strategies really soon. Another one is helping others. Now, we get great purpose and meaning when we are not only engaging with others, but when we volunteer and when we help others. Any random act of kindness not only does help someone feel more hopeful towards the future, but that person giving can actually enhance their mental well-being. And there's some research to indicate that that adds to their longevity and satisfaction throughout their life. So volunteering, helping others, that's another strategy that you can use if you have that mental capacity during this time. It can really boost up your mental well-being and general satisfaction. So we get to mindfulness. So what is it? I mean, I'm not too sure if any of you have practiced it before. I've been practicing a number of mindfulness techniques for a very long time, and I applied it in my sport. These days, I've retired from sport and I apply mindfulness on a day-to-day basis. And it can be from just being mindful when brushing your teeth, taking a shower. It's just really grounding yourself to the present, in the moment, non-judgmentally, without any negative interpretation. And it's to allow the brain just to calm down and clear from perhaps a really chaotic day. And it really does help just relax during the moment. Now, we can actually apply such a technique at the end of the day as part of our winding down, but we can apply it throughout the day too. If you're such a busy entrepreneur or you're running from one meeting to the other, you can apply mindfulness not only between your tasks, but during as well. I must caution though, it takes practice. It's not something that you can apply straight away. Mindfulness takes effort, and it's not just a relaxation technique. It is actually a technique that can enhance cognitive functioning and focus. And there is research to indicate that a program or a mindfulness program that lasts between 8 and 12 weeks has lasting effects for several years. And this could be on working memory. This can be on depressive or anxiety-related symptoms. So a number of positive effects from regular practice of mindfulness. So keep that in mind. Mindfulness is just one of many techniques that you can use to assist in your well-being. Interestingly, automatic pilot is a term used for mind wandering or daydreaming. And if you're in a habit of daydreaming or going on automatic pilot mode, then mindfulness might be a good technique for you. Now, automatic pilot mode is a state of mind where you could be thinking about something whilst physically doing something else. And an example of that is driving. So if you've ever driven a car and forgotten how you've really gotten from one place to the other because you've been thinking about something else, then that's been on automatic pilot mode. That is, you're doing something physical, but you're thinking about something else. Mindfulness helps you draw your focus back to the present. And there's many benefits of drawing your focus back to the present, not only helping you calm your mind, but also it helps with drawing all your energy on the present task, which can really enhance your performance. So automatic pilot mode is something that we try to manage through mindfulness, and there's many other techniques, but mindfulness is one of them. So we're going to practice just for a minute. So if you can find yourself a comfortable position, whether you're sitting down or standing or even lying down, I want you to now get into that position and feel comfortable. You can close your eyes if you really want to. That might enhance the effectiveness of mindfulness, but let's practice it for now. So whilst you're in that position, nice relaxed posture, I want you to focus on your breath, okay? And feel the cooler air come in your nose as you breathe in, and as you breathe out, really focus on the temperature of the air flowing out of your nose, noticing that it is a little bit warmer. And breathe in for 3, out for 3. Really focusing non-judgmentally on the sensations you're experiencing with that breath going in and out. And really just accept that. If you got any thoughts that come in your mind, then just accept them like cars passing by on the road, and then redirect your focus on the sensations or the breath. All right, now just slowly come out of that, reorientate yourself to the screen if you are watching the PowerPoint presentation slides. I'll be keen to hear how people experience that. Whenever I do mindfulness, I feel a sense of calmness and clarity in my mind. Others, they end up falling asleep if they're lying down. So it can have different effects, but mostly positive on individuals when they practice mindfulness. So that's something to take away. That is that experience from doing mindfulness today. Other strategies. Not only can you do mindfulness of the breath, but you can do mindfulness brushing your teeth or having a shower, or purely just walking between meetings or to and from work. You can be mindful in many activities. It's not just the breathing, but because we're breathing throughout the day, it's always there. Then that's a really good start. And then you can expand that mindful awareness to other parts of your experience on a day-to-day basis. Another one is identifying your values. So we're driven by our values. And one example is being sharp. I value that cognitive sharpness. Now, how do we get that? Well, we can set goals to be in line with that value, and it could be setting a goal to get really good sleep hygiene, structured sleep, so that you feel refreshed in the next day, and you're able to really have that real sharpness in your cognitive functioning. So I encourage you to spend 5-10 minutes, perhaps after this webinar, to really reflect on what you value the most, and then structure your goals in order to align with those values. And it could be business related, it could be health related, it could be family or social, or even adventure related. Whatever you value, really consider how you're going to achieve that. And as a lot of you have applied in the past, the SMART principle for achieving goals can really help you realign what you do each day in with your values. Other things to consider are focusing on those things that you can control. And there are many things that we can't control in our environments, including the pandemic and the restrictions, perhaps the transference of COVID. There are many things out of our control. And what we do recommend is to have a degree of acceptance for those things that you can't control, but focusing on those things that you can control. And that includes your own thoughts, your own emotions, and your behaviors, and the decisions that you make. These things you have control over. Other things other than the pandemic that you don't have control over, that you might have to apply a degree of acceptance, is other people's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors and decisions. Perhaps they impact on us, and we can't control that. So these are other strategies that I recommend you using, and hopefully it will help you enhance your well-being. There are resources, many resources online that can guide you to enhancing your mindfulness on a day-to-day basis. You've got Smiley Mind, you've got Calm. You've also got the Black Dog Institute as one of my favorite resources to use for the general well-being and education on mental health. So I do encourage you to look into them if you want to find more information on mindfulness and well-being strategies. Further help, that is, if your situation is quite dire and you're in crisis, then there are helplines, there are resources to tap into in crisis. And I've listed another one there, the Australian Government Services Australia, Crisis and Special Help, financial hardship for those who have suffered throughout the pandemic. So if you don't know of that already, tap into it to hopefully assist. Now, coming to the end of the webinar, I really just want to highlight the need to be aware of your emotional responses, your general health and lifestyle, and your communication style with others. You have a lot that you can control, and your behaviors can really influence others around you. And if you're healthy, then your energy can really assist in others being motivated, and you as a role model might help others then get on top of a healthy lifestyle too. So the three key points that I mentioned to reflect on from the beginning is reach out and connect with your social and family network. As I mentioned before, being connected with others can really help you feel less lonely and can really enhance your well-being. The second point is being physically and mentally active. So we're designed to be physically active. Get outside and do something that really taps into our innate desire to be outdoors, and being mentally active. Continue learning and stretching your cognitive functioning so you can feel more capable of overcoming obstacles and challenges in the future. And the final third point is be more present in the moment, especially in activities or relationships that you value the most. And it might be with family and friends, and really engaging in those relationships that might bring you more meaning and satisfaction in your life. So that's the end of the presentation. Now, Jean, I'm really happy to end sharing and then get back to the main. Oh, here we go. Stop sharing. Here we go. Over to you.
Yep, we'll open the floor for the Q&A session now. So if you have any questions, you can type it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask directly to Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. It's Adrian. Sorry, I can't turn on my camera. Thank you for that presentation. I think it's very helpful. I have a question. Being an entrepreneur, and also like I've dealt with many entrepreneurs before, and the common characteristics that I guess entrepreneurs have is that they're very focused in their business, in running their business, in getting it up and running, and selling and all that. And because of that, I think most of us don't really pay much attention to our mental health. And because the nature of an entrepreneur is one that is very driven, they don't know when they don't know when they realize that something is wrong, and until they actually burnt out. Now, I guess my question is like, what kind of like telltale signs that entrepreneurs should be aware of, for them to, know to take action before they actually, get to a stage where they burnt out and can't do anything else?
Yeah, and I appreciate the question, Adrian. And my goodness, that I'm also a very driven person, and I've been burnt out previously. So the first recommendation of preventing burnout, or assisting in overcoming any mental health deterioration, is to be aware. And that comes from I suppose getting feedback from not only yourself by questioning how you're tracking, but also asking those that you trust for some feedback, because perhaps they notice something that we don't. So enhancing our self-awareness, and getting feedback from those around us to really get the insight that will help us identify what we need to focus on. The next part is to fully answer your question. Are the signs of burnout, or the signs of stress? And we can break the stress into four areas: the cognitive, the emotional, behavioral, and the physiological. So if you're finding that, let's look at the cognitive domain. If you're finding that you're unable to really focus as well as previously, if you're unable to really switch off, if you're finding that you're just frazzled a lot more and you're making more mistakes, then this is a sign in the cognitive domain that perhaps you need to slow down or implement something. Maybe more so in the cognitive strategies to really assist in lowering the chances of burnout. Other areas, including the emotional domain. So getting feedback from others with regards to how you present, and we call that the effect, a person's effect. That is the outward presentation of one's emotion, and getting feedback from others. Perhaps a partner giving you feedback about how snappy you are, or that you're not really present in the relationship, or that you just seem to be more emotionally reactive. Other signs, and great feedback from others around you that can really indicate that it is time to really address something. And Adrian, you're right. A lot of us do push on and sacrifice our own health to achieve goals. And if we're a really strongly goal-oriented person, we're going to sacrifice a lot, not just mental health, but also relationships and finances to achieve that goal. So hopefully that gives some insight. That is being more aware, getting feedback from others, and just being on top of those warning signs: emotional, cognitive, behavioral, and physiological, to then identify a time to implement something to the lower chances of burnout.
Okay, so I guess it's very important for the entrepreneurs to I guess to be connected to a community, or so I guess for them not to not to go on that journey by themselves, because it's very difficult, I guess, for us to identify that ourselves.
Yeah, and you can do a lot of self-report mental health screens that are free, and if you're accurate with reporting your symptoms, then they can give you some feedback. If you're not comfortable in going to someone and asking them for verbal feedback, you can go online and fill out some mental health surveys, and they can indicate whether you've got high levels of stress.
Is there something like Drake can help with, or something that you can help with? Maybe if you can, maybe I guess guide us to to maybe a resource that you might have online, that would be really great.
Absolutely. So you can contact the Drake Workwise intake team, and we'll be able to then facilitate the access to resources that are evidence-based, and we only practice evidence-based strategies. The reason is because literature, there's lots and lots of research that supports specific strategies, and one in particular is cognitive behavioral therapy. It's the most evidence-based strategy out there. Mindfulness is growing in evidence too. So contact the Drake Workwise intake team, and we can facilitate the connection to resources, whether it be just some informal ones or the formal ones through the EAP service.
Okay, thank you for that.
That's right. Yeah.
I have a question, Kevin.
Yes.
Hey, how would I identify the well-being of my staff or my team? Being the CEO, sometimes we can be so ignorant about all this. And what would be the question I ask to identify? What would be the right question?
Yeah. And look, this is such a common question. And when I was a senior psychologist in defense, that this question was posed many times from senior commanders. And so I can understand your position. And so it can be a difficult situation and an awkward conversation to have, but you need to be upfront with your staff and ask them, how are you coping? How are you feeling? And I don't think in our general community that those two questions are asked enough, and especially in amongst males that tend to suppress and hide a lot of our emotions. To ask that question and sit down, be patient with that person, and really listen to them non-judgmentally, and provide that safe and confidential setting so that they feel as though the information they're providing to you is going to be held in confidence and responded appropriately. Then those two questions can be really helpful. That is, how are you coping? How are you feeling?
Probably it's becoming our responsibility as well as the management to create a safe work environment and a safe atmosphere where people are used to be open. I guess a lot of them are scared of, we always try to pressure them, right? Come on, I gotta get things done. And they might want to hide it in front of us. Like, I don't want to show I'm weak and I can do this and I just have to perform in front of you. And that's probably a challenge for corporates.
And you know what, that's a hard one. And you can't force a horse to drink when you lead them to water. So really an alternative to being open and transparent and providing that safe environment for them to open up is to allow them to get access to those support resources, whether that be informal or formal. Can really assist in them getting on top of their mental health without feeling as though they have to disclose everything to their manager. So there are avenues. The first one that I mentioned, being open and transparent, providing that safe and secure environment to open up, is what I would highly recommend, because a really good relationship with a manager really does increase the citizenship behavior of a employee significantly. It is that relationship, that the really strong relationship that ends up producing the extra behavior that employees show beyond their contract. So if you want more out of your employees, then really show that you are supporting them individually and also procedurally as well.
That's why it's relevant to what Adrian said earlier. I think we're very happy to be in partnership with you guys, with the Drake. And I think it's probably a good facility or a platform, a good platform that sometimes we might be able to open up with a third party if we give them a platform. Say, for example, once a year I get all my team to get and see you guys and say something like that, and maybe they might be open up with you rather than and that will be good, I think. And you guys are the professional, right?
Oh goodness. And I've been a psychologist for 13 years, and there is a huge benefit of just building that rapport with one of my patients, and that in itself is so powerful. So, you know, connecting with a formal support through an EAP service can have huge benefits without having to feel as though as a manager, you have to put in all that effort. You can set up the system or a procedure and a support network through Drake Workwise EAP, because we've got it all set up there for you, and it can be quite seamless.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Cool.
If I can also sort of quickly add in, we do have a measure where you can check to see the wellness of your staff as well, the PERMA survey, which I'll send out the information as to what that is.
That'll be great.
Where each individual can check, and they get an individual report as well. But I'll send all the links out to Adrian, and then he'll, if that's okay.
That'll be good. That'll be good.
Yeah. We can definitely organise that if everyone's interested, and you know, the benefit of having such a well-being survey is the next step of understanding what does it mean, and we can assist in interpreting the results.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Well, are there any more?
I have an anonymous question. Would you recommend that people go to a therapist or a counselor for general work stresses?
Yeah, so general work stresses, my goodness, I mean, there's different levels of it, but you know, seeing a therapist can be a little bit daunting for some who haven't seen one before. And I think there can be a wide range of reasons to see a therapist, whether it be a counselor, a social worker, a psychologist, a psychiatrist. I don't think we should be scared of actually going to a health professional to see, you know, for any concerns that we have, low level or intense level. And intense level could be impact on functioning. Low level would be something that is just a general concern that people have, that they can still operate around, but there's no harm in referring to a professional for any low level or high level mental health concerns. Yeah. Cool.
Oh, I just received one more anonymous question. What do you advise to anyone dealing with being in a toxic work environment?
That's a hard one, definitely. And I don't envy anyone in a toxic work environment. I'm quite grateful that I've got a very pleasant work environment to be in. Now, my goodness, you know, where do you start with a toxic work environment? Well, definitely from a psychologist's point of view, there's two ways that, you know, we can tackle a stressor. And in this case, it's a toxic work environment. Number one is try to control or manage the cause of the stress. That might go through a mediation. If it is a, you know, interpersonal conflict, it might be, you know, approaching the manager and openly discussing the issues that are creating the toxic work environment. So that's the problem-solving focus strategy that I recommend to start off with. But the second one, if you can't control the environment, is to focus on your reactions to the stress. And that can then come from either self-management strategies, like the mindfulness one that we referenced before, the controlling the controllables, that is, you know, what can you control, that is your thoughts and emotions, behaviors, and your physiological reactions. And that's self-management, but you can also refer to a professional as well. We've got professionals across Australia and New Zealand that can really assist in anyone adding on top of their self-management strategy. So in summary, to respond to a toxic work environment, number one strategy is to try to resolve the cause of the stress. And number two strategy is to seek support, whether it be through self-management or professional supports to assist in your stress management. But yeah, toxic work environment is a hard one because there's so many variables, and I don't have enough information to provide specific guidance on that. But the general advice hopefully will help. All right.
Does anyone have any more questions?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
I guess that's it. I guess now we'll move on. Thank you, Kevin, for the insightful session. Now we just want to let you know that 11th Space Incubation Program is going to start again on the 1st of November, which is really close. The incubation program is a part of 11th Space Growth Ecosystem. It is a comprehensive 13 weeks business incubator program designed to help you transform your business idea into reality. Application is now open for batch 4 2021. So if you or anyone you know are thinking of starting your own business but don't know where to start, or like to learn about how to start your own startup, please contact us and we will be more than happy to assist you. Before we go, we would appreciate your feedback on our event this afternoon so that we can improve on our future events and meet your needs better. So if you could, please complete a quick 2-minute survey to help us improve future episodes of 11th Talks. You can complete the survey by scanning this QR code now. I'll give you all 2 minutes to do that. Well, that's all the time that we have. I'd like to thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and especially thanking Kevin for doing such an insightful topic today about mental health. We have learned so much about mental health. Please don't forget to follow us on our social media, Instagram and Facebook, and keep up to date with all of our events and activities. I wish you all a great evening, stay safe, and we'll see you next time on 11th Talks, episode 14.